Hello and welcome back to M is for Meeple. I'm Mitch.
And I'm Morgan.
And today we're going to talk about our top 10 board games of all time. You ready for my number 10?
Remember, this is just our list. We're going to start with our honorable mentions. I have two.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't remember my honorable mentions.
Well, come up with whatever is not on your list.
I have...
Alright, I will start while he's doing whatever he's doing. Alright.
Okay. I just went to my 11 and 12 because they're really good.
I have two honorable mentions. One is Dinosaur Island, Rawr and Right.
That's not in your top 10?
It was so hard not to put it on.
I can't believe that's in your top 10.
Because there's just so many other good games. And it's really hard comparing like big box games to quick little games. Like,
we do get the quick hitters to the table a lot more, so it's a lot easier.
And like Dinosaur Island, Rawr and Right is one of my favorite roll and writes. But I really
the only roll and write we've... Oh no, because we did some... Welcome to and
I
Railroad Inc.
We just have so many other big box games that I felt needed to be in my top 10 to where I couldn't put it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dinosaur Island, Rawr and Right. Check it out. It's a really good game. My second honorable mention is Moonshine Empire.
That's not in your top 10 at all.
No, it's not.
I'm so disappointed.
It's 11.
So disappointed.
So, thematically, Moonshine Empire, you play cousins, hillbilly cousins that are...
I don't think in the rulebook it says that anymore. I think in the earlier versions that they sent out to people, it said cousins, but I don't remember seeing the word cousins in the rulebook.
I'm pretty sure it says cousins. You're all cousins trying to compete over getting Pappy's Tavern when he retires. And you're all trying to sell as much moonshine.
Right, it's a pick up and deliver game.
Yeah. But there's alligators, there's swamps, there's trucks that your meeples fit into. It's fantastic. It's so thematic, and we had so much fun playing that game. Your little moonshine like snaps into your meeple as they carry it across the board, and you can get stopped by alligators and by cops, and it's a blast. It's really fun.
That one's by Barrel Aged Games. I'm surprised no one talks about it, or at least...
I did not write down any of the publishers, so we might have to do this again.
That's fine. We'll put them the publishers we don't know. We'll put them at the bottom.
Yeah. All right. What are your honorable mentions?
My honorable mention, my first one, don't look, don't cheat, is Brew. Now, I love Brew. Most importantly, I love burning the cards that you're going for, like a little bit of take that. Because it's...
I feel like you've never done that strategy.
I like when I did do it.
But you don't.
Because I don't roll fire.
Don't. So I always burn the forest down.
Alright, so Brew is... How would you describe Brew? Like a dice placement? Dice placement with a bit of drafting, right? Because don't you draft the animals to help you out? I don't remember.
Really,
we haven't got it to the table in a few months. That's why it's not
dice placement.
So dice placement.
And there's take that. Dice placement with take that.
Yeah. That's good.
It's really good. And there's cute animals. It can be a very mean game.
I feel like that's going to be on your list.
It's actually not.
Brew's not on your list? And it wasn't 11 or 12? My God.
Oh.
Shame.
All right. What's your 10? Or I guess it's
you did 2 honorable mentions. I'm going to do 2 honorable mentions. My second honorable mention that didn't make the list is Radlands. This just came out, and I love dueling games. Like, I know you don't like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering, or like we've looked at it a little bit, but I got like that same feeling when we were doing it.
I like the theme of Radlands. The colors are really nice. The artwork is great. The play mats, if you get the deluxe version, fantastic.
Yeah. So it's a lane dueling game where you're using water as your main resource to put out these, I don't know, post-apocalyptic soldiers, I guess. And
you're trying to destroy each other's bases.
Yeah, you're trying to destroy the other person's camp.
But it's really fun.
It is a lot of fun.
It's also not on my list.
That's such a disappointment.
My top 10 game is Merchants of the Dark Road. We've only played this game once. We're still waiting for our metal coins to ship. But this game is very thematic. You play merchants that have wagons that are. It's also pick up and deliver.
It's a pick up and deliver game that. Oh man, what else?
There's a bit of a rondel for one of the locations.
Well, yeah, because you're manipulating your wagon going around town in order to do certain resources. It does have some dice placement in it.
But the components of this game is fantastic. The artwork is great.
What is it, Chef's Kiss?
We've only played it once.
We need the metal coins.
We really need the metal coins. But it's a fantastic game. Sometimes it leads to an enormous amount of analysis paralysis because there's so many choices that you can go and do, and ways you can manipulate your dice or get things to manipulate your movement.
Right, because
that can lead to you sitting there thinking about, like, what do I want to do? How can I do the things that I want to do this turn?
Right, because not only do you have to plan the turn you're doing now, you have to plan the movement for your next turn, because the dice that you push up in this round will be potentially your movement for your next turn.
Yep.
So you kind of got to plan a whole turn ahead if you want to play the market and sell your goods when they're at the 5 on the dial.
There's a lot of strategy.
It's God.
So much fun. I love games that have a good theme, and the theme is very strong with Merchants of the Dark.
Yeah, it is. The reason that one didn't end up anywhere on my list.
It's not on your list?
No, it was 17.
What?
It was 17. It was because we spent more of the game in analysis paralysis, to where I think if we played a few more times,
it was our
break down.
First playthrough, though.
Right.
Which I feel like that happens anytime you play a game the first time, because you're not sure how it works and you're still learning the different components and the iconography.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of chopped it up as to the more we play it, I feel like it deserves to be on the top 10 list.
It'll probably get up there. My number 10 is an old one we used to play by Rather Dashing Games. That's right. I got notes. I got pages printed out.
Publishers very well,
so,
unless they're AEG or PANDASAURUS.
By Rather Dashing Games and designed by Mike Ritchie, and the art was done by I'm even going art because
Battlestar Galactica.
No. It is the art's done by Grant Wilson.
Gosh, I'm on the edge of my seat. Tell us what the game is.
It's Element.
Okay.
So this one came out back in 2017 or something like that.
It's like Avatar chess.
Yeah, so it is an abstract strategy game where you're manipulating the 4 different elements, and if you're playing with the expansion,
Earth, fire,
the 5th element,
water, and wind.
Wind or air, I don't know what they refer to it as. But if you play with the expansion, which you gotta, is silver, that adds a 5th element, which actually changes. It could be metal, earth, or lightning.
Earth is in the base game.
Trees, that's what it is, right? Because wood.
Wood.
Yep.
Wood.
Okay.
Metal, wood, or lightning. It adds.
Yeah, so
but it's fun. There's these cool little carved pieces.
Right. The objective of the game is you're trying to surround the player to your rights token, and they're trying to surround the player to their rights token. To where if in a 4-player game, everyone's just going at the player next to them, so you got to defend from the player on the left side of you while going after the player on the right. So it's good one-on-one battle, because in a 2-player game you start just one space away from each other, and it gets chaotic to where it's one person's adding water tokens to manipulate a river, and you can take their river and take it across the map to the person you're trying to capture, and I just love it. I had to put it on my list.
Yeah, so my number 9 is Zombicide Black Plague. I really like Zombicide Black Plague. It has miniatures, a whole bunch of different maps that you can play and scenarios that you can play. And it's kind of like zombie D&D. You got a little character board. You level up as it goes, and as you level up, you unlock new abilities for your character. You can find new weapons. It's a collaborative zombie game, so everybody's on the same team fighting the zombies. It can get really hard, but it's a blast at the table. lot of setup for Zombicide.
There's quite a bit, yeah.
But it's really fun. There's a whole bunch of additional characters that you can get. And again, the theme is... that's my number 9, Zombicide Black Flag.
That's your number 9?
Yeah.
My number 9 was one of your honorable mentions, Dinosaur Island Rawr rights. Yeah, so why isn't it on your top 10? It's got dice drafting, or not dice drafting. You're filling out your dinosaur
We
park.
just have a lot of really good games, and it was really hard to make a top 10 list. It's number 12.
Especially
it almost
since
made it.
It's hard to make this list because like we got a lot of Call to the New right now because we're
Yeah.
just recently diving into the hobby.
I mean, I wouldn't say recently. We've been collecting board games for a long time.
Like
But
probably 4 years, but since we got a house, we have so much
Our
place.
issue is we started watching content creators on YouTube that do board games, and it's introduced us to a host of games we've never heard about. And now we've bought a lot of games.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit of the Cult of the New.
Mm-hmm.
I had to consider that for my list. That's why it's not in my top 10, because there's so many other...
I bet you have other games that we've recently played.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Because they're fantastic.
I won't talk about too much about the Dinosaur Island Rawr right since you've already talked about it.
Okay.
So that was my number 9.
All right. My number 8 is Merchant's Cove.
Number 8. I knew it would be on there.
It just has to be. It's another very thematic game where you are playing merchants, and this game is really unique because it's an asymmetric game, so each character is a different board game mechanic. So one of them is a roll and write, where each player is basically playing their own little mini game in order to create goods to sell at the market, and the market can get manipulated. But one of the characters' little mini games in order to create goods is like a roll and write. One is a dice placement. What are some of the other ones? Can you think of any of the other mechanics that are involved?
At its core, the game is a worker placement because you're manipulating your figure on your board to take actions, which will dictate your mini game.
Exactly. So there's just a lot going on in Merchant's Cove. There's also these gorgeous little wooden, like Viking boats that the meeples you sell your goods to will ride in, and you can manipulate the boats in order to determine which ones are going to dock, and then that will determine which color meeples you can sell your goods to, and the colors represent different guilds that can score you points. And it's a gorgeous game. It's really, really fun to play. And that's Merchant's Cove. So
my number 8 is Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Really?
After making this list, I really like...
That's not on my list at all.
It's so sad. Because I want to play it so much.
I think it's because you won. Listen, when you lose Quacks of Quedlinburg, it's not fun.
So, I feel like you typically beat me in Push Your Luck games, though. And since I won this one, I don't know if it just made it... Yeah, you beat me in cubitos.
Ass and cubitos.
You gotta watch your language. We gotta beat that out.
That's fine.
Yeah, cut it.
This is practice video.
Yeah, so Quacks of Quedlinburg is a push your luck game where you're building your bag of components to brew your potion and score points throughout the end of the day or round. And if you put too many white icons in, I can't remember what they're called, your potion explodes. And then you got to either choose of buying new components or scoring points for that round.
So you get to do one less thing if you bust.
Right. And I really like push your luck games. Yeah, that's my number 8, Quacks of Quedlinburg.
It can be frustrating when you constantly pull wrong tokens out of your bag. My number 7 is Nemesis.
Nemesis?
I really like Nemesis.
Okay.
It's a very difficult game. It's semi-co-op. Meaning there's a chance that one player will have an objective that goes against what all the other players are doing. I mean, I guess everyone can kind of do something.
It's It's a choice.
Yeah.
You know, you don't
To where
really know if
basically it is the movie Alien in a board game. But for legal reasons,
for copyright purposes, it's intruders.
Yes, it's intruders, but mechanically, that's how the game plays.
It's Alien.
Right. So you wake up from cryo sleep and you notice that there's a bunch of aliens aboard your ship. So you're trying to, repair the ship and try to escape without dying from the aliens. But you'll all have like a secret objective. Actually, you get two secret objectives, a corporate objective and a personal objective. So someone's objective might be to escape and make sure the ship is headed towards Earth. So their one goal might be to go and make sure the coordinates are set to Earth. Another player might be the only survivor.
Yeah.
Or make sure the ship gets destroyed. So
you get time to mull it over until the first intruder comes out.
Right, and then you're forced to pick one of them. But as you can see, sometimes those goals are counter to other players' goals. So it's just a fun game where you kind of have to work together to kill the aliens, but you're all trying to survive and accomplish your own goal too. So it's really fun. There's minis. The map is really cool.
I don't think we've ever had one of the objectives. I'm pretty sure there's objectives where it's like make sure player number 3 dies. I don't think we've had a game where anyone has picked that, like, a specific objective.
I've had the choice. I just didn't.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think anyone's been selfish enough to be like, well, that person sitting across from me's got to go.
But it's really fun. You can get infected. And
That's how we all died last time. We were all infected.
Yeah. But it's really fun. So yeah, number 7, Nemesis.
Mm-hmm. Was your 7?
Yes. Is that on your list? You didn't put Nemesis on your list?
Not on my list.
Why?
It's not on my list.
Why?
Because I have better games on my list.
You don't like Nemesis?
No, I like Nemesis. I believe Nemesis, for me... I'll try to cheat.
I'm so shocked that you didn't put that on your list.
Nemesis was number 20.
Oh my god,
It was down there. It was
Mitch.
down there. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. My number 7 is Clank, a deck building adventure by Renegade Games.
It's a great game.
I think that's Renegade?
Yeah.
Sure. But it's a card drafting deck building game where you're going into a dungeon and trying to get a piece of treasure and escape without making too much noise of awakening the dragon and being killed, and get out before everyone else and score the most treasure points at the end of the game. And it's got a bit of push your luck, because the longer you stay down in the dungeon, the more relics, right? They're called relics and treasure pieces you can get. But
as you're moving, you can create noise.
Right. I mean, it's an older game. A lot of people have probably heard of it, but I mean, like, it had to go on my list because I thoroughly enjoy deck building and push your luck games, and this had the best of both of them.
Clank is great.
Is Clank on your list?
Of course, it's on my list.
All right. I didn't know.
I did not put Clank on there. All right, my number 6 is Clank.
Oh, crossover.
A deck building adventure.
A little bit higher than me, where I had it.
Yeah, it's kind of right in the middle of my top 10. But yeah, Clank. Enough said.
Enough said.
6 for you.
So number 6 for me is a game we haven't played in a while, but I really want to get this to the table, or a game like it to the table. And it's by Fantasy Flight Games. It's Battlestar Galactica, the board game. It's a social...
Which we apologize, because it's very difficult to find a copy of Battlestar Galactica, because it is out of print.
Yeah, so I'll get into that, but it's Battlestar Galactica is a social deduction game with hidden roles, to where you don't know who is on your team trying to help the ship get to Earth, and who is trying to get everyone killed by depleting the resources or killing enough of the civilians in the surrounding ships.
The only major fight we've ever had in the 6 years we've been together has been over Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, it was great.
Why.
It was great. It was definitely in my top 5 board
At one
game
point
moments.
in the game, you can look at someone's cards and tell if they're lying or not, if they're really a Cylon.
Right.
Early on in the game, that opportunity presented itself to me, and I found out that Mitch was, in fact, a Cylon. Nobody else that we were playing with believed me, so they threw me in the brig and then voted Mitch president of the ship.
Yeah, so there's different roles you can assume, different characters you are from the TV show that give you different abilities throughout the game. And there's two major roles in the board game. There's the captain of the ship, who like kind of dictates like the military movement of the ship and like whether or not they jump to FTL. And then there's the president of the ship. And I can't remember what the president does. I think they get an ability to like boost morale. So where they, after we threw Morgan in the brig, because I think you were the president.
I don't remember if I was. Anyways, no one believed me for like a 2-hour game.
It was long.
It was brutal. I was so mad that you convinced everyone that you were...
Ugh.
Oh yeah, because he convinced everyone that I was the Cylon.
Right. You looked at my card and she's like, guys, Mitch is a Cylon. But I was like, that's exactly what a Cylon would lie about. Why? Yeah. And everyone just, they went with it. They were like, yep. No one trusts Morgan for 2 hours.
Spent the rest of the game in prison and had to watch Mitch win the game and all of us lose.
Yeah, it was a good time. Number 6, Battlestar Galactica. And if you can't find Battlestar Galactica, they recently reskinned this in the Lovecraftian horror.
It's called Unfathomable, which we also have, but we have not tabled yet.
Right. But, I mean, we'll show, like, some comparison shots, I'm sure, to where it's like, it looks like the exact same game, just reskinned, and I really want to get that to the table. And I unboxed it when we were drinking. So.
All right, my number 5 is Living Forest. It's also another deck builder. It's similar to Clank in the sense that it is a deck building game. And I played around with this order so many times, and then I felt it was best to just put them right next to each other because I like both of these games. But I think I like Living Forest just a little bit better than Clank. And it might be recency bias because we just bought Living Forest and we have not played Clank in a little while.
That's true.
But anyways, Living Forest, you are trying to collect so many of one resource to power up the spirit or something.
In Living Forest, you are... Well, first off, you're drafting animal companions to help build your deck, and then you're pushing your luck with building your deck by revealing cards, which give you more resources, which help you put out fires.
Animal companions will have like different symbols on them, which will let you move, will let you purchase stuff from the market, like purchase different trees and
right. What I like
put
about
out fires.
There's 3 different ways to win the game. And if you're not paying attention to what your opponents are doing, you can easily lose track. Like, you were putting out fires the first game, and I was trying to stop you the whole time.
Anyways, Living Forest, number 5.
My number 5 is Cubitos. Another push-a-luck game of draft. I don't often win it, though.
No,
but
you don't.
anyway.
You did win it.
I did.
Once.
I crushed it the last time we played.
You did.
But it's a dice drafting game and a push your luck game and racing all in one, to where it's like the amount of replayability with changing how the dice work with the various cards and setups.
It's a dice builder game.
I love it. I did say it's a dice building game.
So I don't know if you've noticed a pattern here, but Mitch here really likes deck building, bag building, and dice building games.
I think 3 or 4 of my games on my list have been that so far. And I didn't know that until making the list that I really enjoy that mechanic. Mm-hmm. So I like it. I like it. And I crushed it. I think I got...
The first time we got cubitos.
I got like 32 feet in one, like my last turn, where I went all the way across.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was a comeback. It was awesome.
All right. My number 4 is parks. I had to include parks on the list because I love hiking and going to national parks, and that is all represented in the Parks board game. The artwork is beautiful. I really like trying to plan ahead to... you're hiking on a trail, and you're trying to get components like water, sunshine, mountains, trees, in order to visit a park by spending the resources you collect in order to pay the cost for that park in order to score points. So I really like trying to manipulate the board to try to get the components that I need to purchase the parks that I want to fulfill. Like each person has like a hidden objective card of how many parks they need to visit, or if they need to visit so many sunshine parks or mountain parks. You can get different gear that will give you benefits, and canteens that you can fill up that will give you more resources, and it's really, really fun, and I very rarely lose.
I finally won in parks. First time I won in parks.
Okay,
I don't
but
want.
we played on BGA.
It counts.
And I was working. It was distracting.
I was also working.
Yeah, but
what are you trying to say about my job? I was working.
Yeah, that's parks, and I love it.
Yeah, it's a good game.
At first, it wasn't even in my top 10. And I was like, no, this has to be on there.
I don't even think I put parks in for the ranking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just I like parks,
it more
but
than you do.
Yeah,
but that's fine. It's more of a me type of game, I think.
Parks is good. I just knew it wouldn't be my top 10, so I didn't include it.
Yeah.
4. My number 4 is Chai by Steeped Games.
Steeped Games.
Steeped Games. So Chai is
market manipulation
it's got a bit of
mechanic, because I feel like that's what it is.
I don't know what the word would be for market manipulation.
Because you're manipulating the tea ingredients.
Right, and you're trying to fulfill orders by making tea, and at the same time you're making tea, you're trying to gain money from selling the tea, but you need money to gain components. Mm-hmm. So it's like the metal coins are fantastic. I think the metal coins kind of elevated this higher on my list than some of the other games. To where
I think artwork is really fun. The chunky dice are awesome.
Does it have chunky? It does.
It does have chunky dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to get that to the table again, because I had a lot of fun with that.
To try. We played it 2 times in a row, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah. It was so much fun.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic game.
My number 3 is Santa Monica. I love Santa Monica. I think it is really fun that you're building a boardwalk. It's not the most complex game on my list, but that's okay. I think it's really pretty. You start with like a hotel or like a main card that's really long. And then during the game, you are getting either beachfront cards or boardwalk cards. And basically, you're trying to score points by matching tags. So there'll be like different tags for each location, if it's like retail or if it's like a local spot where like the locals would hang out, if it's a tourist attraction, if it's a sporting attraction, like a volleyball court would be the sports tag. So you're trying to create chains in order to satisfy your personal objectives, and you're also trying to move people around. Tourists, your VIP, and the locals, and you're trying to move them around to get them into these little bubbles on certain cards so that you can score victory points at the end of the game. But it's really cool seeing everybody's boardwalk built out when you play together, or purchasing the boardwalk from the market, like the different pieces of it. It just looks really cool, and I always have a great time playing it, and I like showing it to people because it's just really pretty table presence, and I really like it.
It's a pretty light game. Mm-hmm. Not on my list.
It's more of a me game, but I really enjoy it.
I did have it on my ranking, though.
It's very, very thematic. It'd be a great game to play if you're on vacation, or if it's like a nice day. Like, just makes you feel happy. Santa Monica. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to play a game that makes me feel sad.
I guess that's true. I guess it's the point of any game.
Well, I mean, some games I do get mad, like in Battlestar Galactica, if I wasn't.
It's just it's a fun game, but there is like a surprising amount of strategy involved in it. Mm-hmm. For like how simple it is. Like, there is a lot of strategy, which I enjoy. My
number 3 is Merchant's Cove, and I'm ashamed it's not higher on your list. Because the asymmetry of this game is perfect. Where any game mechanic that you enjoy, I feel like this game will have. with the exception of deck building. Now that I'm bringing it up,
and it does not. But maybe there'll be another character.
Maybe there's a character we don't know about that has deck building, but
there's not.
After I played the expansion character, the Oracle, I fell in love with this game because I discovered I love roll and writes. Like we played Railroad Inc. and that was a good roll and write, but after playing the Oracle and doing that roll and write mechanic, I thought it was fantastic. Of reading the stars to make tarot cards and sell that bullshit to people. It was a lot of fun. To where I love manipulating the meeples on the ships and watching the player next to you. Like, oh, what item are they making? So that way I can go for the same color.
Everyone also has like their own cute little like market stand. And like these little like items that you're selling have their own little pieces and stands that you can put up on display in your market. It's very cool.
So that way everyone else can see what has been put on the stand. To where it's like you've got to go with what other people are going for. If no one's making red crap, don't make red crap. Like no one's gonna get those people to shore.
They'll manipulate the boats in order to get their red meeples to shore, so that they can sell their red items to the red meeples.
To where the more you play this game and learn how each character works, the better you'll get it because you'll know what your opponents are doing, and you also have to determine how much time you want to spend on something to get so many turns.
Certain tasks take certain amount of time to where you might be giving other people more
to where if
time.
You keep taking the 2-hour turns or 2-hour actions, you're going to get less turns than someone who's like taking one actions or who's hiring people to help them in their shop and like produce goods that way. I love it. Merchant's Cove, number 3, highly recommend.
It's a great game.
If you don't have it, get it.
My number 2 is Try. I love Try. I do want to play it again because we have only played it twice, but it was very fun when we played Try. I loved the chunky dice. I loved trying to, manipulate how the different ingredients fall when you're placing them into the row so that you can collect more. That whole market is just like Candy Crush. If they're all next to each other, you get to grab all of the ingredients.
Yeah, the tiles. The tiles that you manipulate.
Yep. And then each customer wants a certain type of tea, and each tea costs different ingredients to make, and it's just a really fun game. It's very thematic, and the tiles are really good in your hands, and it's a great game. And let's try.
Did I win Chai?
I don't think we recorded it.
I think you won one and I won one.
Yeah, I think it was split.
I think I'm winning for the month though. Look at all those points on the board.
Yeah, I know.
Look at all of them on the left column.
I know. Anyways, let's try. What's your number 2?
My number 2 game is a game you've already talked about by Ludonaut, a French publisher. I believe it's a French publisher. The game's in English. It's Living Forest.
That's the number 2?
The Living Forest is my number 2 because it combines my 2 favorite components, which are deck building by drafting in the animal companions to help you, and push your luck by flipping over those cards. And like
we
those
had
two
completely different strategies.
Oh my gosh!
Living Forest.
You kept grabbing the animals that have the black symbol. I don't remember.
Yeah, so the animals that have
symbol.
It's like yin and yang.
Yeah, it's a solitary, and then whatever the anonym is that opposite?
I don't know.
Whatever the opposite meaning.
The
of
animals
solitary
that had the black circle were basically like your bust cards.
Right.
If you got 3 of them of the black circle cards, you only get 1 action and you can't draw any more cards. So in that sense, they're bad. However, what I like about it is that it is very balanced because the black cards give you way more resource value in order to do more on your turn with your action. So my strategy was acquire a lot of black cards so that even though if I busted, I could still do a lot on my turn and make more use of my turn. And your strategy was completely opposite.
Mine was to get the white cards because by getting the animals that have the white symbol at the top, it's like the counterpart to the black, to where it allows you to get one extra black card in your pool that helps. So traditionally, you can pull 3 black cards, but if you have 1 white, you can pull 1 more black card in your pool.
Mm-hmm.
So
but the white cards, it's a toss-up.
They sometimes have negative values.
Yeah, a lot of times they have negative resource components, so it's like a balancing act.
Right, so my goal was to get enough white to where I'm playing my deck the entire
every turn you'd play all of your cards.
There were a couple times to where it lined up to where I got my 3 black cards before any white showed up. So a couple times I did bust, but more often than not, I was flipping my whole deck to where I was able to just build more and more resources because I knew I was never going to bust, or very often not bust. Mm-hmm. To where, anyway, you're doing that in like 3 victory conditions. You're trying to put out 12 fire tokens around the living tree, or gain 12 of the unique trees, or get 12 sacred flowers in your line. And I got very close to doing that by playing my deck the whole time. So I really like it. I like that there's 3 different ways to win.
I won 1 and you won 1 of Living Forest, right?
Well, yeah. You won the first one.
Because I beat you with fire.
Because I was paying attention to my own board the first game. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, oh, you're 1 point away from winning, and I can't really stop it.
Yeah, it's great. There is a little bit of take that. Not much, but a little bit. To where you can take one of your opponent's resources if you pass them on a track, and then that's 1 less resource that they can count towards their 12. So yeah, it's really fun. Living Forest. All right, number 1. My number 1 is Tidal Blades, Heroes of the Reef. Is that not on your list?
It's not number 1. It's not on my list.
That's crazy to me.
I enjoyed Tidal Blades. But I want to hear why you enjoyed Tidal Blades, and I'll let you know why it's not on my list.
So I really enjoy worker placement games. And Tidal Blades is a worker placement game where you are all competitors in this Tidal Blades tournament, I guess, right? I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah, it's like a fantasy tropical setting with various fish creatures.
The theme, the miniatures, it's fantastic. I'm really upset we didn't get the deluxe version of this game.
Components look fantastic, and if there's any way to just get the deluxe components, I feel like it might be close on our list, or close on my list for me, but the main reason it wasn't even on my top 10 is because we've only played it at 2 players, and we had to play with the 3rd AI player in order to balance the game of fighting the bosses.
I feel like it would play fantastic at 3 or 4.
If we would have played it at 3 or 4, this probably would have broke top 10 for me.
Yeah, but it's worker placements. You're going to all these different locations to collect resources in order to power up your cards, in order to defeat champions at these locations in order to score points. And you can also it's kind of like a dice builder. Yeah, you're like upgrading your dice, so they'll be more effective, so you can do more damage, or you can heal better, or you can, replenish your stats. It's really fun, and I'm very excited for the Kickstarter that's coming out in February, which is the part 2 of this game. It's called Tidal Blades Rise of the Defenders, I think. I don't know, we'll put it below. It's a dungeon crawler game.
Dungeon crawl? Yeah.
They are working on an RPG game also, but this part 2 is a dungeon crawler.
Okay. Yeah. I would like to play it. I would like to play Tidal Blades again, but see if we can get a 3rd or 4th player in. Yeah. So that way we don't have to play with the AI player. Because I feel like the AI player was even almost overpowered in the sense that they go there and they just automatically do
they just automatically succeed.
To
whereas you're rolling dice and you may not succeed. So
So I would like to play Tidal Blades again.
Yeah. But I really like Tidal Blades. I redid my list twice and it was number 1 both times.
Then it's gotta be number 1.
I know. That's why I couldn't change it.
Okay.
Or what is your number 1 game?
My number 1 game is Moonshine Empire by Barrel Age Games. And we briefly talked about it. It was an honorable mention for you. And I'm glad at least you mentioned it. But it is.
Well, I like thematic games. And then when you mentioned that, I was like, you know what? That is a very thematic
game. You're competing to get Pappy's Tavern, and there's potentially it's a 1 to 4 player game where you're building your little moonshine base that can help you make better moonshine with distilleries, or it can get you money by
you're upgrading your vehicles. You can get ATVs, you can get trucks, and they can all carry different amounts of moonshine in the truck bed or fit different amounts of meeples.
So it's like the way you're getting customers determine, like if you get a customer, then you're moving last, or vice versa in the auction phase. Like it's got a good balance to it, and the pick up and deliver. I really like a pick up and deliver game.
It's got a little bit of a learning, like a steep learning curve.
And the meeples and like the components are so nice.
Hilarious, and it's very fun to play.
Yeah.
I think it took us 3 hours.
It took us a while to learn, and we got it on a whim because we saw a video of that the same day we went to Recess.
Our local gaming store.
Our friendly local gaming store.
And they happened to have a copy of it, and it was just released, like it just fulfilled the Kickstarter.
Yeah, they had just got it.
So we were like, oh, we just looked up this game and really wanted a copy. So it was luck that they had it. So we bought it and we played it, I think, that night, didn't we? Yeah, it's fantastic.
I took it home right away and played it.
Moonshine Empire.
Moonshine Empire. That's my number 1. All right.
So you like to meet the games we talked about today. Be sure to check out your friendly local gaming store. First and foremost. For us, that is Recess in North Olmsted.
North Olmsted on Sparky Lane, or close to it. I don't remember the address.
It's not on Sparky
Lane. Sparky Lane adjacent.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's Recess Games.
Yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. Yeah. Where M is for Meeple. I'm Morgan. I'm Mitch. Remember, any game's a good game as long as you're having fun. Yeah, any game's a good game.
A meeple is a small figure used as a playing piece in certain board games, having a stylized human form.
And now you know.